Hi everyone, and today's video we'll have as guests Bob Bell and Tina Smith, and we will talk about natural bodybuilding as a life choice for athletes and why to be a WNBF athlete. But before getting into the talk, I would like to introduce to you Bob and Tina, and shortly myself afterwards. So Bob Bell is the Vice President of Global WNBF in US, and Tina Smith is his partner and also the Secretary of Global WNBF. They coordinate our affiliate activities from all over the world. And indeed, we are all over the world now. We saw new affiliates coming almost every single day. It's a new affiliate coming, and we are very proud of it. So what was the last one? It came this week?
Gosh, we've had a few. We brought on
Mauritius, also Islands also.
Yeah, Mauritius, yeah.
So you have to know that they are very busy with organizing WNBF at the global level. And next to that, they have two gorgeous dinners and two adorable cats. Very important detail for me and Bart. But they also have a lot of experience in bodybuilding, natural bodybuilding, and I would love to hear from them directly about their history in bodybuilding and how they correlate that with their professions. So, Bob and Tina, tell us more about the two of you.
I'll take this one. So we were both athletes in high school and college, and were into weightlifting. He was finishing his graduate program in college, and so I actually competed first, and I was in a gym that had some natural bodybuilders, and I didn't know that existed because I had only seen unnatural bodybuilders before. And so it was really nice to understand that there were events that were truly drug tested. So in 1996, I did my first competition. And at that time for women, there was only bodybuilding. That was the only category there was. So many women were still very reluctant to lift weights because they thought they would get big, and you would if you used enhancements. But to find natural bodybuilding was really great. I competed in a non-tested organization, and it was just ridiculous because I was competing against a woman that was, the size of him. But when I found natural bodybuilding, it was just really empowering and fun. And I won my pro card the following year, and then I talked him into it. He was reluctant because of shaving your whole body. That was really because he was a football player, so that didn't go over very well. But he did it too and won his pro card. And then we got involved in judging, and we were sort of watching some of our friends compete in different places. And so we would be at non-tested events and get really frustrated to see our friends like win a novice class, and then the directors of the event tell them, well, there's only one way you're going to go any farther, is if you get bigger, and this is what you have to do. So that was frustrating. There were natural organizations that were not thoroughly tested.
Natural.
Yeah, so there was hypocrisy there, and that made us mad. And in the old days, when there was only bodybuilding, there would be a prejudging, and then you would have an extended period of time, like 6 hours before the finals or the night show. So we would go to a movie or have coffee or something, and we were sitting around and we just said, some of these events are so bad, I bet we could do this. And we have real jobs as educators in a public school setting. I'm a school psychologist, and he teaches physical education to kids with disabilities. So we've always had other jobs besides running bodybuilding events. And so therein the passion is just stronger because it wasn't something we had to do. So we started running events in 1998. And so that's been a long time that we've been running competitions. And since we both compete ourselves, we knew that we needed to have fruit backstage and water for them, and that everyone wanted a nice shirt, when they could, when they finished, to represent that they were natural bodybuilders. So I feel like from the very beginning, we did a lot of really good things for athletes. And so then we competed, we got to, I did the world championships with the WNBF a couple of times, and it was just amazing to meet people from other countries that did the same thing. We started judging in other states, and so we got to travel a little bit. And so that was just really exciting for us. And then In 2013, Nancy Andrews, who I competed with, she's a 4-time world champion in bodybuilding, called me one morning. I was on my way to work and said, the WNBF is for sale. Do you want to, go in and be partners? And so we did. And since then,
That was a no-brainer. You don't pass up being able to run the WNBF.
Right. And so since then we've worked really hard. And again, it's a passion. We have jobs, but the issue with the jobs is that we don't have to make any decisions on this based on money because we have jobs. So we can do things hopefully to help people be successful and be happy. And I'll let him talk about the international expansion, but that is just the most incredibly fulfilling part of it, that there are people all over the world that have the same ideologies about, not using drugs and being healthy and natural. And we've had a lot of great experiences. My son was just grabbing a chicken breast in the kitchen and it's like, who are you talking to this morning? Because every Sunday morning we're talking to basically a different country about natural bodybuilding. So
really nice. Yeah, it's very appreciated what you do because we can't imagine it. I mean, we are going to one direction, talking towards you, but you have to address and help everybody else. It's like we are a branch and you're the tree, and we have to really stress you with all these things. And yeah, next to your family life and next to your jobs, I think this is quite a lot of busy times.
It is. And just to kind of back up, I mean, really the reason we got involved in promoting to begin with was because we had really bad experiences and we're like, we could totally do this. We could totally find a great venue. We won't start late. We'll have great awards. We won't ream people for ticket prices and we'll actually drug test the way we should. What's respected, what's admired. And that was a lot of the things that the other organization that we competed with, the natural organization that we competed with, continue to operate that way. And so we just thought, we want to do something different. And we got involved with the IMBF and started hosting events. And we care about every single competition that we host, including Worlds, which we'll talk about later.
Yes. Great. And now, if Bob want to say some other stuff about your experience as bodybuilder, and also how did you combine it with your own specialization in your profession, then we can listen to you.
Yeah, I mean, like she said, we'd been college athletes, and my football career had I wanted to play professional football as a place kicker, and there was just there's only so long you can pursue something like that. So I decided, hey, let's find something else. And then bodybuilding came along. As she mentioned, we trained with people that were not drug free. We didn't know at the time, and they became really good friends of ours. We found out later that they were using anabolics. We had no idea, and
we knew.
Well, at one point we did know. Yeah, when their bodies started morphing and ours were staying the same, and being 6 feet tall, I don't know, that's 180 centimeters. Yeah, it's hard to put on muscle and to see all these other people that are, not drug free, stacking on that weight. Anyway, so I really just kind of dove into bodybuilding with her and with our friends at the time, and we had a really great social network. At a place called The Gym that's still in existence today. Yeah, it's called The Gym. Long time ago. We're actually going to see some of those people today. But it just, it was, we really used a science-based approach. We had a trainer of ours, Canyon Tour, who still coaches people today. One of the most educated people that you could really want to have working with you, kind of helped us through our bodybuilding career, helped us achieve a pro card. Really address things in a really strength and conditioning kind of way, and it was awesome to train that way. So that was pretty much what we did for I don't know how many years. Achieved our pro cards and then competed as pros. Traveled to New York a couple times to compete with the WNBF, and
we were the first husband and wife team to compete in the WNBF. Again, there was only bodybuilding, so there wasn't as many women. There wasn't even figure at the time. And just to answer one other part of your question, because he teaches physical education, we started to go to high school weight training classes and football teams and even girls dance classes and talk about the virtues of weight training and eating healthy, and things don't happen overnight. But we've really acquired a lot. I feel like we've made a difference for younger people through that avenue. With our own kids now, we don't have as much time, but that was something that we accessed a lot. And one of the kids who was 16 in one of those weight training classes was about to be involved in gangs, and he started lifting weights more, and now he's a registered nurse and he runs our event in San Francisco. And another little boy who was 16 who, you know, heard us talk, similarly went on to achieve the same degree that Bob has, and he works for our school district, and he's, you know, a former teen champion bodybuilder. So those things are really empowering, that we have changed the course. Another boy called him one day and said, I'm going to consider using steroids. He talked him out of it and changed his life. So
yeah, it was awesome to go through the bodybuilding thing. Then really, I mean, we still lift weights. We're always going to lift weights, but then it became the educational part, the promotional part, and then you know, leading the WNBF. So it's been a super awesome ride, and
it's still on.
it is, yeah. I mean, I guess we don't really look like we lift as much as we used to, but we'll always weight train. Bodybuilding's been a part of our life for, you know, a long time, and now we just kind of live through you guys, the younger generation.
Not much younger, but
yeah, our promoters and our affiliates, you guys are, you know, very special to us. So it's been a super awesome journey.
Yeah, definitely. And for us was just the first year, the 2022. I think next years will become even more exciting, and I can't wait to be myself there. Never been yet to the US, and it will be great for me to be the first time there with the occasion of a world championship. So with the team from the Netherlands, or also with the team, and for myself to participate. Now I have to see if that will be 2023 or 2024, but I have my hopes more for the 2024, considering that I want to build up more and also get more hormonal balance after 5 years of continuing on it being in a prep and not having a bit of a space for normal life, so to say.
Yeah, and you did an awesome job running your first event last year. I mean, it was a smaller competition, and I think that says a lot of things. First of all, you drug tested every single person. That doesn't happen in other organizations. Even if they say they're natural, they don't necessarily test everybody. So you guys accomplished that. It's only going to grow.
You had representation at Worlds. Very nice, gentlemen.
Exactly. We had at least one person who came and signed under our flag. That was really emotional. We saw that video and I thought, oh, look, it's our flag, and has some signature under it. It was really nice. So next year we hope to come with more athletes, and for sure this gave a lot of hope from the athletes already. So we made the first event to come this year. They didn't believe that it will start up immediately so quickly, and that we have the first show already in the same year we announced that we will exist here. So it was a bit of susceptibility that let's see first, and then we're gonna do. And now I have athletes from other federation of, so to say, natural federation, that they ask, and hey, they're gonna do this year another event. They said, of course we're gonna do it. So they are coming already, and they come with questions, and that's a good sign, I think. So, well, my next questions I wanted to address to you is why would athletes in general should stay natural? Because I've been to an event in UK, and I had the chance to talk with girls behind the stage, and some of them were confessing to me that they want to do 1 or 2 years of being natural and then start to use enhancement if they continue to compete. So I was wondering what makes people to think like that, and if we can change their mentality, how to convince them not to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's been our global mission since we started, is to grow the WNBF, give people the opportunity to compete on drug-free stage. You don't have to use steroids. You don't. I mean, we are a prime example, and we have some of the most incredible athletes from around the world. Over 50 countries come to compete at Worlds, which we'll talk about. But you don't have to use PEDs to have an incredible physique. I will admit, the first time we went to the World Championships in New York, I saw the middleweight class, men's bodybuilding middleweight class, probably 22 or 23 guys. I walked up to the stage and I said, there's no way these guys are drug free. I didn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was incredible. And of course, I was just naive and I didn't know a lot about the sport at the time, but everybody, in fact, was totally drug free. Passed multiple urine tests, passed every single polygraph exam that they've been given. And so this is an incredible opportunity to compete. You don't have to use drugs. Tina can talk about more of the psychological stuff in terms of drug use, but there's the long-term results. I mean, look at I'm not going to name drop it. So many non-tested pros are dying. They're losing their limbs. They're some of them are locked up because they committed, murders. I mean, it can make you crazy. And it's sad to me to always hear them say, oh, it's sad when so-and-so dies. What did you think was going to happen with drug use for 20 years? Of course, they're going to die. It doesn't matter what they've done. They're making a horrible choice. It's bad with society. It adds to our medical costs. It's not a good choice. It's illegal. Let's not forget that. And it's, once you go down that road, you can't come back. You can't compete with us. And we are a rugby organization. Once you touch it, you can't come to us. So I would just at least, we've had really good pros come out of the WNBF that have decided to go on. They've either won titles with us or they just wanted to achieve something different. That just means they want to be bigger. Drugs. So you don't have to do that. So, give us an opportunity, compete with us, come and win a world title before you decide to go on drugs. At least come and compete on the toughest stage that you're ever going to step on, and then maybe go on from there. But we're always going to tell you as educators, as leaders of the organization, to never touch it. You don't have to. Think about your family, think about yourself, think about other people instead of just trying to win a trophy, because the magic pill is always going to lead you in the wrong direction.
What I'm thinking is that people have heard that if you can have it under control, like getting under advice of a physician and somebody who's checking your blood regularly, that the side effects or these bad effects of drug using can be under control. But reality can be very different, just because you never know how those drugs are reacting into your body. Maybe there are some fortunate people that they didn't get that bad effects, but you never know how your body reacts, and you never know, combined with your genetics, what will be the downsides and the damages. There is kind of a Russian roulette, let's say, that, you never know how it will spin in your life. And Tina probably have to say more about this. I think the psychological effect is the most important part of convincing people not to do it, because it's about the image you have, about what you want to be. In fact, not being the image you really have to have, because it's a different story between how you perceive yourself and what's enough and beautiful. So I think the perception of your own body is very important, and there is the click. You have to make it happen and not to be tempted to go on drugs.
Yeah, I am a psychologist. I have an advanced degree in psychology, but there is a point of dysmorphia that happens. So people have body dysmorphia where they look in the mirror and they think they're small when in fact they're very large, and women may see themselves not the masculine piece of the usage that is very ugly because their arms are big, and so they talk themselves into something, and it's very much rooted in low self-esteem and wanting instant gratification. When we were at a Gold's Gym, I would be able to tell if someone was going to go down that road just by talking to them, just based on where their psychological state was, because they wanted something that they thought was going to make them happy, or that they thought was going to make them more attractive. And it's really pretty sad. So
it's never an end of this road, isn't it? I mean, no matter how much you try, you'll never get happy. That's for sure, because your distortion is in your head and not in the mirror.
Right. And so people, more. And that physical image is more important to some people based on their own personality than the health benefits of it. And those are the things that we try to reiterate to people constantly. I'm almost 56 years old and I can still squat. So, you know, I feel good about that. Like, we're healthy. And so we, you know, tell people that it's a lifelong thing that's going to make you happier than how big your arms are for a period of time. So it's just very important that and it's a hard sport. You know, if we want to talk about the psychology of that, it's hard. You're hungry, you're tired, every single aspect, sleep, you know, everything comes into play. And so it's a very hard sport. We're not trainers. We've done some sorts of seminars to help people, and then we've taught posing classes, which obviously we can do because we competed. And when we spend time with people who are learning about the sport and wanting to compete, we spend a lot of time on, you know, enjoy the process, enjoy the people that you meet in the gym, enjoy, you know, the science project aspect of what you can do with your body, the performance aspect of if you lifted more this week than you were able to last week. Like, enjoy those things. And some people who think that the trophy is the most important thing, or they're going to get sponsored, or they get more Instagram followers. That's not what it's about. It should be
recognition,
self-motivated and all of those intrinsic things that you can get out of it. And so we try to spread that message as much as anything else. Our Muscle Mayhem event here in California this year will be 20, is this 20? We're at 25 or 26 years, but it's like a reunion when everyone comes together and they see each other, and certain trainers come from all over the world, like 3DMJ, those guys, they come, Jeff Nippard, people show up here in July just to see one another. And there's a really incredible community that is part of natural bodybuilding that the other side of the sport does not have.
Exactly. And now going back to what you said with your experience in the gym, first time with the bodybuilders around you, I thought the other way around. I didn't know that all those women that were in the magazines I saw as 12 years old back then, that they were enhanced, because in the communist time in Romania, where I born and grew up, you're not allowed to talk about things like that. So nobody knew what drugs is, and we never heard of word cocaine. We grew without those terms. So I thought, how these women can get like this? I thought that these are super women, or they have to be cat women, or I don't know what kind of women. And later on, when I found out how they grew, I understood why my brother didn't want me to start bodybuilding, because he thought, yeah, you'll never get to this image, and you can only get disappointed not getting to this kind of physique. But later on, I understood that, yeah, natural bodybuilding can be beautiful for a woman to get proportion, to get athletic. And the athletic body of a woman, of a man, or a man is the goal I think we should reach for. An athletic body, not an over-developed body that is not natural anymore. So I think there's the beauty of this sport, to get to that goal and that harmony between all muscle groups. And I wanted to ask you, how do you think that science in these days can help the natural bodybuilders to overcome some minuses in their bodies because of their genetics, or I know sometimes can be some deficiencies, and how science can help them to improve their performances in such a way to develop even more their muscularity? Because that's the only tool we can use instead of using enhancements.
Yeah, I mean, you have to take a science-based approach, you know, to bodybuilding. I mean, there's some incredible, you know, coaches and trainers out there. That I think the biggest thing with building that physique is it's going to take a while. The drug-free route is going to take a long time. Some of our best guys and women are in their late 30s or early 40s, and they're winning world titles. Some of them are younger, genetically gifted people, but it's going to take a while. So, you know, get involved in natural bodybuilding when you're young. You know, we just talked about TikTok and, you know, finding 14-year-old boys to, you know, adopt that health, you know, that drug-free lifestyle to be healthy forever, and then, you know, get into drug-free bodybuilding. But you have to take a science-based approach. There is no prerequisites for bodybuilding. You can pound weight in your garage for 25 years and then compete. So just take your time doing it. Follow really, really good science-based approach coaches. Eric Helms has written a really great book, Muscle and Health and Strength Pyramid. Go check that book out. There's a variety of coaches and trainers that have been with the WNBF for a long time. Dr. Joe Klemczewski kind of coined the phrase peaking. He's a really great PhD, has a great website. Go check Dr. Joe out. Lane Norton, there's a lot of people that the 3D Muscle Journey guys, a lot of people that have really impacted the sport with the science-based approach to coaching, and a lot of self-taught coaches and trainers also. But there's nothing that you can do other than getting under heavy weight for a long period of time, changing your rep ranges, adopting periodization, putting that into your training program, sleeping, right, eating, supplement if you need to, but eat real food. Use creatine, glutamine, caffeine, a pre-workout or whatever to help you get through your training cycles and stuff. But there's no magic. Just take the time to do it, and you can build an incredible physique. Being lifetime drug free.
Yeah, you mentioned some name of supplements, and indeed, I get these questions from my son that is 16, and he also asked me what creatine does in your body and what are the supplements we should use in the beginning of building up muscles, and what is the protein doing it, what amino acids are, and stuff like this, which we also didn't know much back then when I was just 12, and we didn't have internet, not even books to read about. All I had was the school itself that taught me a lot about the human body, the anatomy of human body, and also biology in general. And further than that, I didn't have any materials. But now you have an explosion, a huge amount of information that you can appeal to. But indeed, you have to know where to start from. And a good coach with experience can help you. But yourself, even if you don't have the possibility to go to a coach, I think by just asking yourself the most simple questions, like my son was asking, a simple mind of a 16 years old can get or can bring you to the right sources of information. Just starting to Google what amino acids are, what protein does in your body, how to synthesize those, and what helps you to develop more muscularity. I think you can get to very good researches and studies that are keep on going in these days, and you can really read the studies and judge yourself the results. You don't necessarily have to hear the interpretation of from someone else. I think with minimal intelligence, a lot of people can get to many information and much information, grow up as a natural bodybuilder, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would just tell people to keep it to basic stuff. Don't get excited about all these supplements. There's a ton out there. Everybody markets their stuff in a way that looks so enticing. Anything that sounds amazing or crazy or cutting edge
or easy, it's not easy.
Yeah, it probably doesn't work, or it's marketing, or it's banned by the WNBF and the World Anti-Doping Agency. So just from a banned substances standpoint, check everything you're going to put in your body. Don't start taking something. Don't listen to your coach. Research stuff.
Or your friend, your gym buddy.
Yeah, your coach is fine, but don't take supplements that you don't know what's in them. That will just get you in trouble, and that's why we polygraph test to make sure that we cover our bases with stuff. But keep to basics. We know that creatine works. It's one of the oldest supplements there is, and there was not a lot known about it when I was going to college. I actually asked my exercise physiology teacher about creatine monohydrate. Would it make a difference in my performance? And he said no, because they didn't know back, right? And now we know, yes, it does work.
It does, but I understand what your teacher told you also, because my brother grew up without it and was still a good bodybuilder in his time. So you will have some help now, but going back to the basics, I think food, sleep, and training are the most important factors.
Absolutely.
And I think some people, whether it comes from coaches or elsewhere, sometimes the hard truth is important. It's like any sport, there are genetic limitations for every single person. And so if your parents, have symmetry, you can thank them for it, because that's just genetics, how big you can get. Or some people get really frustrated because their coach said, I'll get you a pro card or something, and they're just not. Maybe they should be an endurance runner instead, because that's what they've been given.
For, yeah, I understand that very well. And you're so right. I mean, you have to understand your limitation to accept them and improve them as much as you can, but not get frustrated and think that drugs will help you overcome those genetical minuses. So yeah, that's the point where I think people start to think of that. Okay, this far I could go and further not, so I have to change with drugs, and that goes wrong. So yeah, you touched a very good thing about genetics, but I think every natural athlete can reach a glory moment with exactly what it has and can, without being frustrated if it works hard enough and enough amount of years. Because you don't have to give up only after 2 or 3 years if you have not so good calves or not so good back or so. And if you work on that, sometimes you can beat genetics, just like, I don't know, other bodybuilders also admitted that they have minuses and deficiencies, and they overcome them by working hard on those points.
Yeah, yep. You have to be in this for the long haul. I mean, just we mentioned a few names of some people that are close to the organization that have been coaching and training a long time. One of our pros, Chris Barakat, is also working on his PhD. He started bodybuilding when he was in high school. I think probably, I don't remember. You can look at his Instagram page. He shares photos of when he was like 14, and he started bodybuilding. He always admired the WNBF. And I don't remember how old he is now, but he just won his pro card, and he won his first pro title on the East Coast with the WNBF just recently. So you do have to be in this for the long haul. Don't give in to the magic pill. Don't let your coach, if your coach tells you to get on drugs, you need to bail.
So you should delete his number from your phone.
Yeah, put the hard work in, and to any coach that ever watches this that does push drugs on people, shame on you. Don't do that. Let people make their own choices. Don't encourage people to go down the dark road, because they don't have to. There is another option here, and the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation has stood for that for a long time. So be smart, be in this for the long haul, and you're going to look great. When you're late 20s, early 30s, you come in with a world title with us.
I mean, look at us.
Yeah, I mean, we look okay, I think, I mean, I don't have abs anymore, but they're overrated anyway.
Oh yeah, you do have. My brother, first thing when he saw you, said, hey, but he's in good shape. I was expecting just a big old guy with a big belly that he maybe used to compete 30 years ago, and he forgot how he was looking back then. And he saw you and he said, hey, he's in good shape. I said, why surprising you? I think I want to stay in good shape in 20 years from now on and still organize competition and maybe competing. So please. Yeah, that's the good thing in natural bodybuilding. Then you're gonna not disappoint people when you are 60. You'll still be quite the same what you used to be, without being a huge deflating kind of body, like we see at some bodybuilders now that it used to be Olympias in 1980, and now after 40 years they look unrecognizable. You think, is that the person that used to be 5 times bigger on stage?
Right. So, or they're dead, or they're not healthy. I mean, there's
the lucky one who survived.
Yeah. I mean, and they would probably say, I would never give that up for anything. But most people, including all professional sports, most people are never going to be the best. You're not. So look at yourself. Dr. Joe, years and years ago, who we were close with, he told me on a phone call one time, he said, Bob, I knew I would never win a world title. I could win my class, but I could never win the overall, because I just don't have the upper body size. So he recognized that. He had awesome legs, awesome hams and quads, but he didn't have everything else. But he told himself, I'm just going to do the best I can. So do the best you can in the sport, be competitive, lift weights forever. But yeah, don't go down that road. Stick to, really reputable companies. We have an awesome a company that supports Worlds. It's Caged. You can look them up online, but look up reputable sources. Don't give in to gnarly sounding supplements, Angel's Dust, whatever that pre-workout is. That can't be good, right? And it's probably going to have some bad stuff in it. I don't even know if that was. I don't know if that was a proper name for the supplement, but I've seen some really crazy stuff out there. So just be smart, train hard. Supplements are going to help someone. Probably less than 3% of your physique can even benefit from that. It's not going to make you a pro. It's not the magic pill. The magic pill is going to be banned, so don't touch those. But yeah, we're not trainers or coaches, but we've been around for a while to know what works and what doesn't work.
Thank you very much for all of this. And How do you see the development further of WNBF at global level? As we mentioned, there are more and more affiliates. Europe is very nicely developed already in this aspect. I encourage all the athletes I come across with to participate with WNBF, because they have the chance to go all over the world. And if they don't want to go very far, because we have to accept it's an expensive sport, and not all of us can be sponsored or have enough money to travel that much. At least at level of Europe and US for the world, they definitely can do it. And we are very happy, and I'm telling them, you can go Spain, you can go France, you can go Italy, you can make a very nice combination between competing and a short holiday. You explore new places, you'll meet people with the same passion as you have. You'll make new friends in this community, and you'll keep in contact after that with them. So how do you see the development further of WNBF at the world level?
Well, well, hold on, Bart, you got to hit pause right here, so I'm gonna get some more water. we can edit right here.
I can answer that one.
I can give you some if you want.
Hold on 1 second, then I'll let Tina talk, and then I can talk.
Bart can edit this, or we'll just let it like this just for the fun. Just to test the patience of the people who are going to watch this video.
I think what has happened is the world is really small. It really, really is. And we have such a strong community. All of our affiliates have competed, and many of them are pros. And many of them may come from another country where they go back to and start a federation there, or find someone to start a federation there. So the fact of what has happened over really the last, and it's Bob, it's a lot of time on his part to spend time talking to people and explaining everything that we do and why every piece of it, particularly the drug testing and judging criteria, is so important. But once that resonates and people become invested, they're really invested, and they have a piece of passion to it that we do, that it's not about just a business or making money or things like that. It's so much deeper than that. And so it's very empowering, and so you find more people like that, and then there's more people, and Worlds has just exploded over the last, probably since 2018, because of the international piece. And the international piece that comes to Worlds is the most competitive. We didn't have it in 2020 because of pandemic, but in 2019, we had 370 athletes, 70% were from international. Same was true in Las Vegas. Even many people were calling from the airport that they tested positive for COVID, or they couldn't get a visa. It was sad. But and then last year in Los Angeles as well, there was just such a strong international piece that's what people aspire to. The US athletes are the ones that I feel like really need to step up their game to be able to hang in with this. And so how it has all come together has been just really amazing, and it continues to grow. It's kind of the pace is okay for us right now, but we were driving somewhere over the last couple of days and brought on 2 more African countries that are both professionals that live in Dubai at this time. So that just happened. So it continues. There's a lot of places in this world, and there's a lot of good people that follow natural bodybuilding.
Yeah, I mean, when we took over the organization in 2014, we had 5 affiliates, and now we have we're going to be cruising over 50. Yeah, and it initially.
52 after our call on Friday.
Wow.
Initially it was definitely a goal. Charlie Carolla, who's the former vice president of the WNBF, said really focus on the international part, and he was right. There's a lot of reasons why it's hard to grow here in the US, mainly because there's like 25 drug-free organizations. They all do something different. They all seriously lack drug testing integrity, every single one of them, which is not okay for the sport. And they, allow certain supplements that are banned by WADA. And they do everything different than we do. And I think that shows why we are very different. So when we started, there was 5. We have many others that have joined us since we took over. But initially it was a little bit of work. It was definitely a goal. And then just it just kind of happened. And people saw what we're doing. They believe that we have integrity. We show that. We have an actual off-season drug testing program that no one else wants to do because it costs money.
And there's people who have left us that didn't want to follow our rules, and that's fine. If this isn't the place for you, you're not going to be with us for anything except doing our drug testing. Period.
The UK is a prime example. Our new UK affiliates are incredible people. They've been on board with our drug testing. We had issues with the former affiliate. We've had a few affiliates walk away from the WNBF in the past few years, and every time it was because of drug testing. So we want specific people to work with. You and Bart are incredible leaders. You know the rules, you respect the rules, you follow the rules, your vision and everything is the same. And those are the affiliates that we want to work with. We get phone calls and emails all the time from countries that want to work with us. And when you start talking about drug testing, they don't want to do it, or there's an issue with it or whatever. And so that's just not what we're about. So if someone is watching this video from another country that we are not affiliated with and you want to talk, drug testing is the first thing that comes up. It's the very thing that we talk about. And if you're not drug free yourself, or if you don't believe in our morals, values, if you don't agree with our website and what it says about drug testing, then it's not going to work out. So, don't pick up the phone.
The only downside, or the only downside, the big downside of a federation that pretends to be natural, but it's not, and keeps only the appearances, it's that at the point they will disappoint athletes. The ones that go on stage thinking they go to compete between naturals, and they will see that they have no chances because next to them they are staying with people that obviously are not. So
that's not fair.
What my mother was saying, I'm trying to put it in such a way not to be banned by YouTube. When shit is mixed, it starts to smell. So when you put things together that are not matching with each other, then it started to stink. And this is going to happen, that those federations are going to fall apart because they will have no people to compete there anymore due to disappointment. And at the point that the market is going to be cleaned up from itself due to this factor. So they won't be there as a competitor anymore in the natural world. They will just have to disappear, or to just go with the other ones, with the ones that are not testing, and let athletes do whatever they want. So this is indeed an issue that will keep WNBF clean. And
there's countries that it's amazing to me. They say it's drug free, but they don't drug test at all. Or
how can you say that?
Or they'll drug test a few people, or they don't prove it. So if you collect 50 urine specimens, we should see all 50 of them, shouldn't we?
Because I'm thinking of my freezer. I have there 2 tests that are waiting now to be sent to you. Now, every time we put something in the freezer, we're trying not to get to that live or that shelf. We leave it unopen, although it's no problem. They are very well closed and sealed. But we have with the next workshop on the 25th of February, so this month, we're going to collect by surprise 2 other samples, and then we want to send them together, knowing that they can stay in the freezer for a while before being tested without alteration. So this is not laughing now.
I think you should talk about the polygraph part of it right here is a good place, because the urine doesn't go back 10 years. And so that is different for the WNBF than any other natural federation. It's incredibly important, and it's worldwide.
And there's still, the other organizations that talk negatively about the polygraph, first of all, probably don't know a lot about it, or they believe it just doesn't work. And of course it does. If it didn't, we wouldn't be utilizing it for over 34 years. We just wouldn't. We would find other ways to test. So it is important. you will see other, natural pros that compete with other, natural organizations that don't come to us. And there's a reason. They're not eligible, and they know they would not pass that 10-year drug-free test. So yeah, the polygraph piece is important. Just what you just said is important, that we're going to drug test people without notice.
Exactly. The combination between the two of them, I think, is the best, because some of them, I don't know if they can train to full polygraph. Honestly, I don't think so. I have been through polygraph testing just to feel how it is, and no, I don't think you can train yourself for it. The body reactions and biological reactions, you really can't control them consciously. Can be very easily be determined by a polygraph. So I don't think you can train yourself for that.
Some tests are very short. There's an organization here that does a 3 to 5 minute test that you may be able to cheat your way through that, but we don't do that. Ours are much more extensive than that.
Yeah, and there's just these people that test for us, they're all licensed. They've been they've got thousands and thousands of tests in their pocket. They know what they're doing. They can tell if you're trying to beat a test. They can tell if you're using countermeasures. They know that. They can tell if you smoke pot within 48 hours. They can figure it out. They have ways to do it. So so it is an important part of pre-screening. The urine testing piece, obviously very important. That can't test up to 10 years. So when we utilize these on and off season, it does make us different. It does make us special, in my opinion. It does, and we're going to keep the integrity of our sport, natural bodybuilding, in check until we're not around.
And when someone fails, they're out for 10 years or perhaps for life. Yeah. There's a person in our own city that failed an off-season test, and he was on our poster, and it doesn't matter. He's gone.
Yeah.
He decided to do something after our event. We caught him off season, and he's gone. That's it. Yeah. No,
there's no exception and no favoritism. Even it can be somebody very close. And indeed, if the development of technology goes further and there are other methods of testing, I think WNBF will always be open to adopt them and test it as, with most precision possible. And we are open to do that too. We don't want to make any compromise too. And yeah, I think this will make the difference between us and other federations.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. We covered a lot of subjects this evening, and I hope with this video that will be online on our WNBF channel on YouTube, that people can get a better impression about what means to be an athlete, what means to be a natural athlete, why to stay natural, why to compete with WNBF, why to compete not in only 1 year, but go on and struggle to achieve your best physique you can. And the personal recognition of it, not the outside world recognition for it, and just be a part of this beautiful community and meet new people and with every chance you have to compete internationally and get to the worlds in the end.
Yeah, I really encourage people to compete with WNBF Netherlands, purchase their membership card, compete with them. Remember, once you qualify through your organization with your approval, they're allowed to compete internationally, so they don't have to purchase another membership somewhere else. They can compete in any organization. Obviously, at Worlds, we would love people to come get qualified through one of our foreign affiliates. And when we say Worlds, there's a lot of organizations that have a Worlds, or they have another title for the year-end event. But ours really is the Olympic Games of Bodybuilding. Some say that, but we prove it every single year. Our event is 3 times larger than any other drug-tested organization on the planet. Come to Worlds, come in and meet people from, like you said, over 50-something countries that all strive for the biggest world title in the sport, which is a world title. And the camaraderie and the friendships, that you'll establish at Worlds will be there forever. We know people from all over the world, which is great. There's a lot of camaraderie in the organization that makes it special. And I hope everyone chooses to be a part of it.
Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot for all these. And we'll see each other very soon, hopefully.
Yeah, well, hopefully this year. Maybe you come to Seattle, because you did promise. We can't come to Worlds last year, but you said we'll come to the next one. So we want to meet you and Bart in Seattle.
We'll do our best for sure. But we have to see how the events develops here, of course. And yeah, we hope we're going to do a great one this year. So we keep our fingers crossed for it.
Yeah, we hope to meet you guys.